Welcome, everybody, to episode 47 of PT Shop Talk. On today's episode, we talk about our best tips and tricks for patients for management of lumbar spine pain. And we talk about our top 5 favorite video games that we played in college. With me today, as always, is Nick, 6-Star Doling, and Jeremy, We Fit Van Klompenberg. Welcome, gentlemen. Yeah. Do you know what that's a reference to, Nick?
What? No, I have no idea what 6 stars.
Jeremy? You guys?
6-star protein?
Oh, that was the highest level wanted rating you could get in Grand Theft Auto.
Ooh.
Is it really?
I was never a PlayStation guy.
They had that on everything, didn't they?
They had
exclusive?
Other platforms. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I assume
Not
that star rating was
anything
in like others as well, right? I mean, I assume San Andreas and all those had the same wanted rating.
Oh, you're right. I just didn't. I didn't play it.
No, I thought it was cool. Never mind. Swing and a miss.
No.
Jeremy, I assume you played lots of Wii Fit, though. You seem like a Wii Fit guy. I bet you just destroyed that balance board.
Not a lot of Wii Fit,
Crushed
a lot
it.
of Wii Sports, though. We actually busted that back out over Christmas.
Oh, wow.
That's fun.
Still work?
It does. I mean, it's pretty wild. Like, that's 15, 17 years old.
Is it really? That
Holding
old?
up strong.
Yeah.
17,
I think
that's
06, 05, 06.
Oh, man. But
Yeah,
it could
I think
be.
it was,
I don't know.
Yeah, 06, 07, I would think. I remember when it came out, like my buddy waited in line all night for one of those suckers.
November
It was a big deal.
06.
November 06. Okay. That
Yep.
was a big
Yeah.
deal. I remember that.
It was a big deal because he got one, and then it was like we sat on it for like a day because all of a sudden people were like, "Oh yeah, you can sell them for like 800 to $1,500 on eBay," and we're like, but we really want to play it, like and we have no money, but it seems pretty cool, so we just busted it out and played it finally. But
It was worth it.
it was.
Were you a tennis guy then, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah.
Bowling, both. Yeah.
Actually, we were playing it, and I was sitting on the couch, and I had a little bit of distal biceps irritation after playing that for like 3 hours. Just
I used to get my tries used to be like just wiped out when we did the boxing one on there.
Oh yeah.
Especially as you advance, you gotta throw a lot of rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about that now with like the VR boxing. That's a big deal. People getting like elbow pain and things from it because like there's people hyperextend their elbows when they punch on it because there's no end,
Yeah.
So
gotta go light. You gotta snap it.
You gotta snap. Yep. Don't hyperextend. Punch close. So it's just interesting things people develop. And Wii's were so popular. Wii was so popular in therapy for like a year. Everybody had that one.
Yeah, we did a little balance. I remember down in Marshall, we had a balance board and did that stuff. And there was a couple cool little assessments you could do on there. But then you got to remember where they were at before and document all of it. See if they're any better.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They dodged
great that way.
3 boots this time. Last time they only dodged 2 boots.
Oh, the soccer.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, we never had one, but seemed cool. I mean, we had like a $10,000 like Biodex balance thing, so it seemed silly to buy a Wii, I guess. But
yeah, you'd hate to be able to get the same use out of it for $9,800.
Fraction of the cost.
Well, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm sure patients would have preferred the Wii.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah, more interactive.
Way more interactive. Yeah. Wasn't as like. Oh, go on.
I was just kidding. No, I wasn't. No, go ahead. Finish your Biodex story.
Well, the Biodex was nice. It was very accurate. Go on.
I was just gonna on that note, because Jeremy mentioned the Wii and stuff like that, and the time of year it came out back in 06. So we haven't been together since pre-Christmas.
Been a while.
Guys, any really cool treasures you guys got as gifts?
Cool treasures. Getting kind of that age where less and less cool treasures, I would say. I got a nice like all black pair of On running shoes to like wear in the clinic, which was nice. A little dressier looking, so that was nice. Nice to find a all black running shoe.
Yes.
It's like walking on clouds, right?
They are nice. I've always been just like a driver shoe guy at work, and started wearing those. I enjoy them. It's a nice change of pace for my crappy body. It's a difference, you know.
Kind of tempted to try at some point.
Yeah, I think it's like just you change it up, right? I mean,
yeah. Foot should be flexible. Should be able to move from shoe to shoe without destroying it.
Yeah, right. That's always been my thought process is you don't like need a special shoe. Yeah. If you get a little sore, like I said, I usually wear drivers, and every once in a while I'll get like plantar fasciitis or like some Achilles discomfort when I start running again. Yeah. You just swap out shoes for 3 months and it goes away. I mean, it's that simple typically. I don't add anything else. I don't really even add new, and I keep running, you know. Don't add orthotics. I don't add any more stretching than I don't ever stretch. I think it's overrated. So maybe that's why I keep getting plantar fasciitis.
It could be a little,
I don't know.
Little ankle mobility. I know I got to work on those a lot now because I've gotten the last few years. It's just something I've noticed I got to pay more attention to is my foot flexibility, my ankle mobility.
Well, enough with dorsiflexion. How about you? Any nice little treats
well, you
Christmas?
Didn't answer. You didn't answer. I can it's about giving with me. Which really
I would say it's the same.
Which is code meaning I got a bunch of shitty gifts. That's a joke.
I gave lots of good gifts. I would agree with that.
No, it was fun. It was my daughter's first year where she kind of gets Christmas. But then because she barely gets Christmas, then there was a lot of like, no, I want to play with this now.
It takes forever to get through the process.
Man. Baylor's at that age where it's like, I mean, 90% of the time he's opening gift just to go on to like the next one. He just loves the process, kind of checks it out. Okay, cool, thank you. And then he's on, can I open another one? You know, he's just moving on. We're like, do you even process like what you got, you know? And
nope.
Yeah, my daughter is at that age where we mostly just got her dresses and like costumes and stuff. Had to try everything on, which involves my daughter stripping completely naked in the living room each time in front of everybody. It's like, stop.
It's gonna start getting weird here.
We're doing this.
Saying like she's at that age where modesty is still not like a thing she's worried about.
Yeah. Our big gift this year, we decided to go the trip route. So we booked our first like flight with the whole family. We're going to be doing in June. So
that's cool.
That was exciting, you know, to be able to deliver that type of message and that gift. They really freaked out about it.
How'd you do it? You put a PowerPoint together?
Yeah.
48
slides. Yeah. Interactive. Cutaways.
Follow the laser pointer.
Yeah. Look at what we can do.
What do you want for Christmas? Swirly, 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 swirly.
I like the slide animations you threw on every single slide.
That's it. The extent of my PowerPoint is probably still stuck in like 2001.
Yeah. That's fun.
Back when I was learning in college, I was like, "Oh, this is neat."
Yeah, you add everything.
Change it up on everything.
Yeah. Every slide's a different animation with a different background.
Well, I can't be boring and do the same thing.
Yeah, different kinds of bullets on every single slide.
Yeah. Well, boy, what other small talk we got going on? I mean, New Year's. We also have New Year's.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Are you guys, Nick? Maybe we talked about this a year ago. Beans were like on our year anniversary, but you guys like resolution guys? You like set something forward for the year?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge.
Perfect. I get it. No worries.
No, I'm just not a big resolution guy.
Yeah.
This year we put some things into practice though. Like I know the kids age, they like resolutions, you know, like our older ones especially, they get it. And they kind of really sink into that whole like new year, new you, like now I'm gonna start over, right? And now this is gonna be the thing. What we decided to do though this year was add a little bit more like maybe reinforcement to some things, some practicality to it. And really putting some fresh, and I think what's helped us over the years when we're good at it, and I don't know why we stop at times, but like putting up some fresh calendars, whether it's like like Michelle's got this kick-ass like white weekly board one. I'm like, this is what we're doing. This is what what you're gonna do, and we got chores, we've got some discipline things such as like what workouts they're going to do and start staying healthy there. And then even just the monthly calendars where we're, being more intentional about stuff we're going to do, so that was something I do attribute to like New Year's, the new shift and stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah. I just kind of thought like, I wouldn't say I have a resolution. It's just like, all right, I have like a list of good behaviors that I want to start implementing into my life a little more intentionally. Because I do believe good behavior breeds good behavior, vice versa.
Yeah.
So most of it health related. Just getting older. Gotta be a little more intentional with my health.
Yeah.
Can't be doubling down on 2 large pizzas in Dallas anymore. I mean, that's gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a trip coming up.
You smashed them
do.
both? Smash them both?
I mean,
Remember we heard
as
that
much as I
story
could, yeah.
in his hotel
Yeah.
room?
It's
But
like
he didn't
1.5.
finish them all, did
It
he?
was like 1.5. I mean, I tried as hard
Yeah.
as I could.
Freaking embellishment. Listen to that.
Well, I ordered 2.
What's this guy? He didn't even finish them.
That's so much pizza.
Braggadocio.
So much pizza to eat by one man. So yeah, little things like that. And yeah, I have a trip coming up. I'm going to start these good behaviors after that. But
it is tricky when the title game is like the 8th, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes New Year's a little anticlimactic. Yeah.
Well, with like the NFL shifting schedules and stuff, it's super cool because the Vikings game's like right at the same time.
It is. Yeah.
So I'm sure people around here are going to love flipping back and forth between those two.
Yeah. Well, if it's like the last Sunday, boom, boom, ching.
Well, yeah, I mean,
play
you might get to the point where the Vikings aren't even really playing anybody. So
yeah, they say they are, but we'll see.
Yeah,
That's the rumor. We'll see.
I am kind of a believer in like playing through the season versus sitting people. But,
yeah, I think within reason. If you got guys that are legit banged up, yeah. Let them sit. I wouldn't be opposed to having him sit Cousins, considering he's now been hit more than any other quarterback in the league. And let Mullins scamper around there. I mean, just let I actually, as bad as the Bears have been, like 3 wins, and I think they're on like 11 game lose streak, 10 games, 11 in a row, something like that.
They'll probably break it against us.
Yeah, they could. But they've been getting blown out though too. I mean, it's like they get their MO. I think Justin Fields goes out, does some incredible footwork, in the first quarter, and then teams kind of like, okay, that's what he can do. So now we're just going to pile on the points, and their defense.
Let's make this guy throw.
Yeah. Heaven help the NFL if he can figure out how to throw a football. Jalen Hurts. I mean, same thing, right?
Yeah. So, no, good luck. We got some. What do you got wagered up on this game officially?
I don't have anything wagered on this game. No skin in the game.
Official.
Nothing official. I'm gonna go down there, just party my buns off, and hopefully, drive back on a win. I've never had to drive back on a loss. That seems crappier.
Yeah, it does.
But man, NDSU, they were supposed to get a bunch of folks back, and now it sounds like none of them will be able to play. So that hurts. That hurts a little bit. So I don't know. Things are stacked against them, but don't count them out.
They're looking like some forecast down first. Oh, that would be nice.
Dang.
That plays into the Bison's hands. Yeah. They're
run the ball in nice weather. Yep, pack my
Yeah.
shorts.
If you
Got a
go
nice
cold,
Well, go on.
I was just gonna say, if the weather turns cold, then you got to lean on the Jacks. I mean, they're just built for it. They're used to it all the time.
Yeah, I think warm weather is in the Bison's favor a little bit, but it's it'll be good. I would say Jacks are probably the likely victor, but we'll see. I don't know.
They're the favorite. What is it?
Should
4.5?
Should
Is it
be
4.5? Something like that. Yeah.
They look good. So
I can't believe you're mailing it in already.
I don't know. I'm not like a green and gold glasses guy. I mean, I'm gonna cheer for him. I'm not gonna get down on him. I'll stick there.
Yeah.
I'll stay till the end, but I'm a realist. I mean, I would
But
say
Jeremy,
SDSU is a better team.
You grew up
Right
in
now.
Minnesota, Jeremy. You're just like this with the Vikings. It's hedging your bets. It's being able to say,
I
if
knew they were
win,
gonna lose
If they
anyways.
win, it's rah rah rah. If they lose, it's like I didn't get my hopes up too high. It's just this and that, everything like that. That's really rare though for the Lions. I mean, when was the last time you went to a title game or watched a title game where you felt like they had a legitimate shot of losing?
James Madison, those 2 James Madison games.
Like 3 years ago? That one with
Yeah.
Trey?
Yeah, the Trey one, and then was it the year before as well? They played JMU. Both those games, it was like,
No, year before was Eastern Washington.
maybe it was the year before that then. JMU, Eastern Washington, JMU. Those games where it was like, oh boy, JMU was pretty stacked. And after beating it as NDSU in the semis, it was like, all right, these guys maybe have our number, but.
And that one in January 2020, that was, that was closer than it should have been too. I mean, there was times where you thought the Bison could pull away and they just didn't. They didn't put them away, let them back in. And I think, did they have to pick off a pass at the very end to like
right at the goal line? Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was exciting.
I was right on that goal line on that side with the interception. So that was pretty sweet.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. It was good seats for that one. Yeah. I mean, not great seats for the game. I hate end zone seats, but it was good for that moment.
Yeah, and I'm quite honestly surprised Jeremy's joining us today because he's mourning the Wolverine loss Saturday night. Did it ruin your New Year's?
Yeah, what was worse for you, that loss or the Vikings loss?
Definitely Michigan. Yeah. There were so many bad things that happened in that game. So many bad things. I don't even know. I don't even want to rehash it.
It's still heavy on you. That's okay.
Are you ready? Are you in the phase where you're like, get rid of Harbaugh? We've seen our max ceiling with him.
No, I don't think so. I feel like they should be hyped. I mean, I didn't think they were going to win this year anyways. See what I just did there?
Hedged them. Felt good. Yeah.
Well, everybody thought Georgia, when you saw the Final Four, and although, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I mean, it looked fresh, kind of. I mean, Ohio State's been there a few times. You know, you got Michigan back to back, but TCU being in there for the first time. At least you didn't have another Bama showing. Clemson again. You know, they weren't in there, but
they're talking. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just because when they rolled out, you just looked at it, and I think I'm not alone here by saying, Georgia. You know, Georgia's going to walk everybody, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bummed. I missed the second half of that Ohio State Georgia game, being at my buddy's place, where he's got a party garage, stuff like that. So we were doing that, and he didn't have a TV on the game, and I was keeping up with it on my phone. And apparently, it's like all-time great, amazing football game.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I mean, how many the first game, they scored a combined 50 some odd points in the second half.
Yeah. No. Yeah, just a couple of poor decisions, pulling out the Philly special right away. That was a touchdown.
I do agree there. His butt landed right on the line.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they saw. It was called that on the field. So that's the key. Had it been called down at the
half inch. Yeah.
Or sorry. Yeah, had he been called down at the half inch, I could see, okay, maybe they couldn't overturn it. But the fact that they called it a touchdown, then they're like, well, no, he didn't make it. And you're like, gosh.
Yeah. But I heard it the other day where they talked about, you can get in that mindset where you're like, you only want to see Super Bowls or national titles. And just the reality that unless you're like NDSU, it doesn't happen every year. So then you just kind of lose the fact hey, it was a really good season. They got a lot to build on, beat Ohio State for the second year in a row. So that's what I look at is they should have some nice recruits coming in. That should set them up for a couple of years to come anyways. But
yeah, I like the Big Ten being strong. I mean, I do. I like cold weather football. I like the fact that the SEC is not entirely dominating everything, even though they probably win another title.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat. So that what was the back-breaking play?
Oh.
It's you guys were waiting for it. I felt like I was being set up.
No, you were doing good. But one more. Did you guys watch the football game last night?
He's no, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Should we talk? You want to talk about the game last night?
I don't know. You want to save that for another time? It's pretty
well,
wild.
it's timely. We might as well cover it. Maybe we just
Yeah.
do that instead of back pain.
I don't know.
I think there's
We've been
so,
known to switch it up before.
so much that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
So much. Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Case.
No, I was just curious if you guys saw it and what you thought about it, what you saw today. What's
They
I don't
didn't really
know.
have anything new out today, did they? I mean, he's just still in critical condition.
Sedated, which I think is probably not a good sign.
Nope.
I know the family came out and said he was conscious, and then they sedated him, which I would assume is probably an even worse sign that, like, they were like, "Oof,
Yeah.
see what we can do." You know, I mean, that's pretty crazy. And they said that I've only heard her say. I haven't had a whole lot of time to look into it today. But I thought they said, not the heart wasn't beating for like 9-10 minutes, something like that.
CPR for 9 minutes.
Yeah. So
it's not good.
No, which is crazy to me that you could drop on a football field like that and not get things going faster. I don't know. That was kind of weird to me.
Yeah, they were doing CPR, but it sounded like they didn't have the defibs out. They couldn't get, like, it was all just chest compressions and breaths.
Yeah, that seemed weird to me. Like, what you would have thought you would have got that out super fast and like got it on them right away, as fast as you could have anywhere in the world other than coding in a hospital.
Yeah, definitely.
So, that part was weird for me. Like, I can't believe that that guy getting chest compressions for that long.
Yeah.
And then to come out of it, I mean, how often does CPR get done for that long and then have a heart kick back in?
There's one of those equations, right, where formulas where it's like for every minute that goes by, your chances of survival, decrease a certain percentage. And it's definitely not, I mean, that's on the long end. And that's sad. I mean, it's just crazy too, because I turned it there. We weren't watching it live. And I was didn't see it happen live, switching between some other stuff. And then I think I saw it on the news and quickly went back to like ESPN. And it was just a unique situation. Have they said the last time a game had ever been postponed, if ever?
They were talking about gosh, what's his face from the Steelers? He was
when he got
paralyzed.
Ryan Frazier.
Yeah, and they played that game.
Shazier.
Yeah. So they went back and played that, but then they were talking. I mean, it was crazy. Like ESPN all day today was kind of like, oh man, they were gonna get up and play again, and they were giving them the 5 minutes, and that's horrible by the NFL. And I'm like, of course they're they always
got to try to find a bad guy, right?
They try to come off as like all understanding for him and his family, but then they're just like stoking the fire. Like who knows? I did see the stuff though. Like the one little story I saw today was like involving Skip Bayless tweeting out that, like, I don't know, I gotta read it again, but wasn't it something along the line, like, was he accusing the NFL of doing this for like postponing the game for show? And I don't know.
He was talking about the game of that magnitude that has that many consequences in the AFC side of the playoffs and all this. And it's like, dude, like, just don't push send or don't shoot that one out.
Yeah,
that's not very timely.
No.
Yeah, I know the NFL came out today and said that they'd never told them to start warming up. So I don't know how much truth is.
Yeah, this I was going to say.
They were warming up on the sidelines, but maybe they were just trying to do something to keep their minds off of it too.
And maybe they were, in their own mind, maybe they're thinking, hey, this might get restarted and I better stay loose. What I need to do or whatever. And none of us know. I mean, maybe those guys will come out and say it, but that's the interesting part when any of these things. It's so sad, and I'm going to say something that it's not to sound like I guess disheartened about it or anything, but this is a news cycle thing, and the sad thing about it is a few more days go by and it's not going to be that big of a story anymore. It's just this stuff, we're so used to it now, And I mean, every channel was covering it last night and this morning, and they're going to run with it as long as it has legs. And then once people stop tuning in and just, again, if nothing changes and he's just like stable in the hospital, the story's just going to kind of drift away.
Yeah.
Until he comes out of it.
Yeah. I imagine if he's brain dead and they had to go through that whole thing, it'll be play it through.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hopefully not. That would be 24, man.
Yeah.
A lot of life ahead of you. Such a weird, a random play. I mean, helmet to the chest. I mean, it's not, boy, it happens how many times a game.
But they
haven't said why. Like nobody knows why. It looks like good little tackle. Yeah. I mean, you think right away like neck injury or something like that when you collapse, but no. I mean, head and neck wasn't involved at all.
Yeah, and I always forget the term when you take a shot to the chest and your heart stops. Carotid commodus or whatever. Like that's pretty rare, like with a helmet, because it's usually like a pinpoint hit to like SA.
Usually,
there you go.
Yeah. And that's usually like your catcher in baseball taking a
it's usually a baseball or basketball elbow to the chest can happen sometimes. But
yeah, and that was wild too because it didn't look, I mean, he was kind of running with it didn't look like it was like
it wasn't super violent. Yeah.
Mm-mm. So
and he popped right back. I mean, he popped right back up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
you wonder if there could have been something. It's all speculation right now.
You never know at this point.
If there was something that was undiagnosed.
You hear about that stuff randomly. Every now and
you hear
again.
about it in high school plenty of times. It always seems more of a basketball thing.
Yeah, or like I remember track and field gal in college. She was like pretty good, Division I, and she had like fainted after completion of an event, whether it was 400 or 800, something like that. And she died, and when they did the autopsy, they found that she had like an atrial septal defect. That she's lived with like her whole life.
Yeah.
And ran with for over a decade. So, I mean, it's hard to say.
I don't know how heavy of a like medical workup they do on these kids nowadays. Do you get the full heart workup?
I got it.
You would think. I mean, geez, Sanford will run $170 for a year in town. You think the NFL would do that on every player?
Yeah.
Such a liability.
I mean, that's
for the amount of money.
Scary deal.
Life's at stake. You think they'd run those simple tests just to make sure you're not missing, like I said, atrial wall defect or something, valve defect, that ticking time bomb, or even like a aneurysm in your brain or something that's maybe ready to burst. You can catch those things, Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of different things you want to be able to, stay on top of for sure. I mean, every now and again you do hear about a player who they catch something on a physical, right? And they shoot him out. Vikes had an old lineman a couple years ago that they caught something going on with his heart, and I think he might have stepped back to get it treated.
You think everybody would get a stress test, right? Like that would be part of the combine, or I think everybody would get a stress test. But I suppose that doesn't necessarily always show. That should show valve stuff and no misfiring. But I suppose, again, like an atrial wall defect or thinning there that could just burst at any time probably doesn't show up. I'm not 100% sure on that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just looking for that. That was Shaq's son had that too. He stepped away from basketball, had heart surgery. But I can't recall now. I think that was like 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. And I don't remember if that was like a physical but you just wonder what changes because of it, and what other kind of safeguards can they put in place. But definitely a crappy thing to see.
Yeah. Super creepy.
Terrible thing. So, but
it was the Vikings guy. This was just last year, it was in August 21, Cameron Smith was diagnosed. They found a heart condition on him that required open heart surgery. So he ended up having to, have that done and retire. It is kind of, so I mean, that does happen every now and again. And,
Yeah, I mean,
I suppose
glad they catch him.
Hopefully you prevent. I mean, it is so rare. It's crazy. Like you said, pretty unprecedented what happened last night, and all the coverage behind it, because I don't believe that they've ever really stopped a game and not concluded it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, again, I hope this guy's okay and he comes out of it. And athletes are amazingly resilient. But if he doesn't, I mean, I don't know. Has anybody ever died from a football injury, like on-field injury before?
Gosh, I don't.
Not that I can remember. I mean, at least in the modern era, right? I mean, that. Like you said, people get paralyzed. That's pretty rare. That's probably only happened once or twice, right? I mean, I can think of in modern football, which is also actually amazing when you think about
Dennis
it.
Bird. We just talked about Ryan Shazier.
Yeah.
There was a former Hurricane who played for the Bills, ironically. He was a tight end. I think he was playing special teams, and he took a cervical fracture during a special teams play, but they treated it really quick. I don't think he ever played football again.
Oh, yeah, was he that dude that they like deep freezed him right away?
Yeah. Yep.
It was like a new procedure at the time where they almost like
cooled
his
right
blood
away.
down, right? Like stopped all the swelling in his neck.
Yeah, he might have actually came back and just played a little bit. Actually, now that we're rehashing that old story, he might have been like the first guy to really be able to overcome that.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah.
Boy, it'd be hard to get back on the field after that.
Yeah, man, you'd be pretty jumpy.
I
grew up. The Dennis Bird story was a big one when I was growing up, and they made a movie about it and stuff like that. And I think, and then you think about the teammates too, right? Like you just can't. You kind of almost just have to compartmentalize it so much and block it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it's powerful to see those grown guys on the field. They're crying, heads in each other's chests, and I mean, it's crazy. Most of us don't get to see our friends and loved ones have that happen in front of us. I mean, just seeing somebody get CPR is just a violent, nasty thing. I mean, it's.
Yeah, that itself, when you're watching that happen to like one of your best friends, that's got to be pretty shock inducing,
Yeah, I even to see it on a stranger is pretty intense, And, and I was always wondering too, when you have that much muscle mass like those guys, I mean, does that make CPR less effective? I mean, geez, you got a lot of tissue to push through there.
Yeah,
because I mean, you're trying to compress the heart, right? I mean, really pulling blood in and out. It's like pumping blood through the body by compressing the chest, right?
Yeah.
So,
but it's not like the trainers are like really small guys though either. They weren't too dainty, and I think just rehashing I had to take a big kind of intensive online portion of my CPR, ironically, like 2 weeks ago before I recert next week, and the concern could always be going too deep too, right? Like beyond the 2 inches. So I don't know. It could be an interesting thing to look at when you're talking about muscle mass like that. But I think there's a lot of elasticity due to the cartilage in on the ribs, so sternal cartilage, and Jeremy, you're awfully quiet with this one.
No, I was looking at.
Do you want to talk about back pain, Jeremy? Will that make you feel better?
No, I was looking at Hank Gathers.
Okay,
that was the only other guy that I could think of. Like that was like 1990. Hank Gathers died in a NCAA basketball game.
Okay, yeah.
And I was just thinking, I'm like, I can't think of any other player that has died during a game. And I mean, like, really, by the definition, right? His heart wasn't beating for 10 minutes.
He was dead on the field. Right?
So, like, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you think it is. It's like, it's just wild. I just can't imagine. Like you said, we're being, what was it? Was it T. Higgins or was it Boyd that caught the ball? Was it T. Higgins?
Yeah.
I mean, like, can you imagine that?
Yeah, just being part of
being the guy that caught the ball. Like, holy cow.
But like we said, I mean, when you look at that hit, I mean, hopefully that guy doesn't, Higgins doesn't have any guilt over that. I mean, it was just a very innocuous play. I mean, even when guys are colliding with each other at full speed, it's hard to put blame on them when they're just doing their job. It's nothing malicious.
Yeah.
And this play above all, I mean, he really did. They fall to the side together.
Yeah.
And so it really seems as though there was something, maybe some sort of, advanced condition that he had, something that predisposed him to it. So hopefully Higgins doesn't wrestle with that for the rest of his life.
Crazy.
Yeah. Who was the Boston Celtics player? Did they have somebody who would? No, sorry, maybe I'm thinking of a drug overdose.
Different things, Nick. Different things.
Different things. But he had died like in his prime.
Oh, are you talking about Pistol Pete?
Nope.
How old was he when he died?
Pistol Pete Maravich. I don't know. You look that up.
I mean, Aaron Hernandez died in his prime too, but that's again different situation.
Little different there. Reggie Lewis. That's what I'm thinking about.
No, he was done. He was playing pickup ball. He was 40. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So
yeah, makes you feel blessed for the things you have. Holy moly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He died. So Reggie Lewis died on the basketball court. Sudden cardiac death. This is July 1993. Yeah. He was at practice. He was practicing, had a heart attack and died. Because that was another big one when I was growing up. Like, just a shocking. You think professional athletes are in this, the absolute physical prime, and
yeah,
their hearts especially should be in this amazing shape, and when that happens.
Yeah, it is interesting that enlarged heart. I know that's different than an athletic heart, but like they strain their bodies though. I mean, there's no denying it.
Yeah.
Just not the rest that you need, probably.
Yep. Prayers up for him, man. Him and his family, and all those doctors taking care of him. I mean, yeah, it's got to be just a crazy thing. It makes you wonder too, like, when the Bills, like, are they going to come back and play, and how do they handle this? I mean, the other questions that ripple out of this thing is like, how do they handle that game? Because you're this late in the year, it's like, how do you squeeze it in?
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a rare thing. I think you just wash it and go make the best you can out of it.
Call it a tie.
Yeah.
You do that. There's enough ties out there, and just leave it be.
Yeah, I think a tie is an all right way to do it. I mean, it's not a plus, it's not a minus. I mean, it does affect it. Probably would bump you ahead of somebody, with your tie instead of your loss if you would have lost. But
at least it affects both teams equally and fairly, I suppose. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it's hard otherwise, then you can't really compare records when it comes to playoffs and stuff if you don't put something out there. You can't just not have anything. It's a non-game.
I can't imagine having to make that decision. That's like that's a no-win situation right there.
That's a tough meeting to sit in for sure. That's
that's
when you make your $30 million or whatever to be a commissioner.
Well, yeah, but it's not just the commissioner. Everything they do, they said last night, they have to vet through the Players Association. So they did say that, like, every decision made last night was like joint between the NFL and the Players Association. Like, what do we do next? And so however they handle that, because I mean they have games. I'm assuming everybody's got a game scheduled this Sunday. So, how do you even? If you're the Bills, especially, like, how do you rebound from
that? Yeah, you can't play a football game back to back. You can't do like a Sunday, Wednesday, and then next Sunday. I mean, that's too much. I mean, then like you said, you got to take the players' mental health into consideration too. You just can't just jam games at these guys.
And that's what I'm getting at, right? Like when, God forbid, let's say his health turns for the worse this week. How do you expect a team to play like on Sunday if he happens to pass away?
Yeah.
I mean, that's some whole other level of that. But you saw it, and we saw it to a degree in the bowl games with Virginia, right? They lost
Yeah,
3 or
shooting.
4 guys due to a tragic shooting, and they forfeited their game, didn't they?
I think so.
And they forfeited one game. I know they did. And I don't know. I want to look up how the other teams handle that too. Obviously, it's bigger than a sport, right? Bigger than entertainment.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to for sure.
Yeah. Well,
but on happier news, talking about heart health, I saw some dude just ran his 365th marathon in a row. That's pretty wild. Yeah,
like
365
like
consecutive
every
marathons. Yeah, and he has a full-time job. That's crazy. That dude is
What?
getting
How
it.
do you
Yeah.
do
He
that?
doesn't. Was he taking a sabbatical? He's
No,
not.
they say he's working full-time still. And his company donated $50,000 to whatever charity he's raising money for. So
you're just doing that after work? Hey,
yeah,
I'm
well, they say he's a
8 to
shift
5.
worker. They say he does shift work. So yeah, it's marathon in the morning and then he works in the evening.
No
That's
way.
nuts.
Yeah, look it up, man. I forget the guy's
It's
name.
not a
but
human. That dude's an alien.
That's pretty
Well, I mean,
crazy.
the work piece is like shocking because there's been other guys who've done that. There's been guys, do 50 in 50 days. There's people who've done ungodly ultras that, go on for a week straight, and it's all crazy. But yeah, to work to do that for 365 days, man.
I mean, that guy is like giving his body zero rest. I mean, I couldn't imagine running a marathon and then being like, well, off to work we go.
Yeah. Discovery Channel used to have this show where when Stan Lee was still with us, he was like Stan Lee's superheroes or Superman.
Okay.
And they chronicled real human beings with like some really abnormal abilities. And one of them was like, I think it was Dean Carnassus. I thought that's who they followed, who was the big ultra marathoner at the time. And such a rarity. And they did these medical studies on him where instead of like at some point when he runs, his body is so adept at metabolizing lactic acid where it's able to decrease the actual percent of it in the blood once he hits like the 10-mile point. So instead of it continuing to go up and create this intense feeling of muscular fatigue, it actually stays
Second
steady
wind.
or even drops a little bit. Yeah, it's a literal second wind,
And so like I read his book, Ultramarathon Man, and like I was like, this is so braggadocious and unrealistic because he starts the book like I don't know if he's like in his 30s or something. I think probably maybe late 20s, and he just had like a crappy day at work, and he used to be a track athlete, so he grabs his shoes from high school, straps them on, and he's like, I'm gonna go for a run, and he just starts running, and then he runs like 20 miles to the next town over and like has to call his wife to come pick him up. And I'm like, that's so ridiculous. There's no way that's a true story. But like you said, since then I've seen those studies on him where it's like, yeah, in theory he can run forever. Like there's like his body won't have an endpoint as long as he has energy. And he talks about that in the book where like he oftentimes orders pizza while he's running and has the pizza guy meet him on the corner, and then he just does pizza taco while he's running. And as long as he's got energy, he can there's really his body won't shut down. So pretty amazing.
The physical thing, the mental thing. I mean, there's people like Jeremy. I know we've talked a lot about David Goggins and the ability to like his story that kind of cracks me up the most is where he was trying to do like the Death Valley, like 135 or something like that. The promoter's like, no way, I can't. You've never done an ultra. I can't let a rookie do this. You have to qualify and earn it. And he's just trying to raise money for like fellow soldiers. So the guy, he's persistent. The guy's like, all right, I tell you what, there's a 100-miler going on in San Diego this weekend. You go ahead and do this 100-miler. I'll let you in, and you can train for like 4 or 5 months and then do this one race, which is like considered one of the hardest in the planet. So Goggins goes out there and runs this 100-miler with like no training, but the absolute like kidney failure that he runs into at the end. I mean, he finishes it just basically due to physical and mental will, because organs are shutting down. He has to be taken to like the hospital and get knees. I mean, just awful stuff.
And then I got out and then I ran 100 miles the next bleeping day.
Yeah, like the promoter's like, oh, so you ran that 100-miler? Well, you're in. I mean, you almost died, but you're in.
Yep, you're in. But then you had time to train, and
that
but
Death
just
Valley one's brutal. Oof.
Yep.
That heat. Because they usually wear like special suits for that Death Valley one, like reflective
it's
suits.
wild. I mean, that's a level of. I have such immense respect for ultras, ultra tries, ultra just marathons. I mean, those people are on another level of mental toughness because there's elevation involved in all these cases.
Yeah, Pikes Peak, such a big one.
Leadville, Leadville, huge one. You get
belt.
cold. Yep, you get cold. Yeah, the belt, big old buckle.
Yeah.
That stuff's just so cool to me. It seems so foreign, right? Like to me, it's like there's no possible way, and most of them have like a 36-hour cutoff. Like you got to get in here, and I mean,
what's the current edition of the DSM? Because I feel like that should be in there. Like,
also,
I go and run ultra marathons. That should be diagnosable, man.
Yeah,
it's got to be something different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's got to be a brain chemical change. I mean, it's because, like you said, those are grueling because it's not enough for those guys that they just run. It's always like, yeah, something weird, like the Death Valley.
Yep.
Like, oh, you're gonna do that in the heat. You're gonna do that in the elevation. You're gonna do that in the Arctic. Like, it's not enough for them to just go, I'm gonna run 100 miles. It's like, let's make it tough.
Yeah,
make it hard.
Yeah, you're not just going to the track and running like 400 laps.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Which would be terrible on its own.
Yeah.
There's a cool, if you get the time, Nick Bear is a kind of a cool guy, kind of a hybrid athlete who's done some ultras, and he talks about training cycles where he goes from like weight training and just endurance stuff. And he's got a video on his YouTube where he's doing a might be Leadville. I can't remember which one, but it's like his GoPro and the recording, or maybe he's got somebody recording with him. But
he's born to run.
Maybe, but this guy's a big dude. And
I think that's the guy.
No, not him.
They run at Leadville though.
and it's just really cool to see, like he has different people run certain legs with him, just keep him going and bring him food, bring him beverages, kind of keep everything hydrated. And it's just really, really cool.
Raw liver.
Cool raw liver.
Yeah, testicles. Just munching them.
Yeah. Round mile 35. Some bull testing.
Lightening this mood up. Are you gonna join that class action lawsuit, Jeremy?
I might
after the old Liver King.
I really thought about it. I mean, now I know that's not attainable.
What's really interesting, I mean, $25 million when he says he makes 100 million plus, it's like, well, it's not, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money, but he probably made I guess he's a liar. You can't believe anything he says.
But he's a big liar now.
But you wonder, is 25 million more than he made off of his lie? I don't know.
Going back to resolutions, I think I just made one. I want to live by the 9 ancestral tenets.
Pop your top. Let's see it.
That's what I want to do.
Let's do it right now.
Just get on the juice, man. Yeah. You got what is it, 14,000 a month to spend on HGH and
pretty wild what that stuff costs. Holy moly.
No kidding.
I mean, I knew it wasn't cheap, but boy, 10 grand a month.
Come on, guys. What's a little like $150,000 investment if you're going to make 100 million?
Yeah,
true. But here's the other question. He was already presumably pretty jacked, right? And when you read his those emails that were broken out, it's like you talk about a guy who's got a mental complex. He's like,
how do I even get more jacked?
Body dysmorphia.
I feel like I carry something in my love handles yet.
So I got some back fat.
Yeah, back fat and his love handles. Oh shit, it's like, dude, like you probably still sell plenty of your subs by just being at 9 or 10% body fat versus 6, which is like his goal.
Mhm.
Like, you know how many people would still buy that shit if not knowing the difference?
Yeah, like we said, I mean, there's so many bodybuilders selling supplements that are all on steroids, and people gladly buy them still. I mean,
man,
he just went way too hard. He just went too hard.
I haven't dug into an old Flex magazine in a while. I don't even know if they make it anymore. But that used to
even make any magazines anymore.
Yeah, good point. All those ads used to be, like you said, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and all these dudes that were so jacked up. And yeah, they might have been taking that supplement, but they were taking a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah, right. Like Animal Stacks. That's how I got like this.
Yeah, Animal.
Yeah, probably not.
Animal is one of those companies for years. They've had like just some freaky looking dudes.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's our multivitamin.
Oh, pack. Animal Cuts.
Animal pack.
Yeah. The multivitamin.
Yeah. Animal pack. Get a free t-shirt.
And like
pretty sweet.
In the Slim Jim can.
I mean, I can believe some of those guys take their protein powder that they sell. Because I mean, steroids alone, I think we said before, you can't just shoot steroids and have a great body. I mean, you do still have to feed it and
I'm gonna try.
Put the workout.
So you're saying it's one of the 9 ancestral tenets are the roids. It's like number 9.
It's like 9 back out
and be like, it's the 10th.
I was gonna say, so I think he had 9, right? So now it would have to be number 10.
Yeah, if you think of it like branches of a tree, the steroids are the trunk, I believe.
Right, pretty big deal. Where did the testicles land?
up inside your body with that much steroids. I assume. Yeah, but
food for thought.
Yeah, it is interesting what the people will pay though, because I had a patient say she works out pretty hard at the gym, and she said there was a lot of guys that go to like that Limitless Male in Fargo, and she says that's usually they spend about $3,000 a month on stuff there.
Dude, I saw being back in my mom's this last weekend for the New Year's, I saw some ads for that Limitless Male.
So let's go hand in hand, Nick. Let's go get some tests, see what they recommend.
Yeah, I also heard some video ads
for what?
For Apex PT.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
They're all over. I
think it was the Jamestown one.
Yeah, they're doing work. What can I say?
Dry needling and BFR. I think
combined
at the same time.
No.
Well, that's the next level.
But those were the two key pieces of their radio ad.
Hey, people love new shiny. No doubt in it. Nobody's gonna come because you advertise you do really good exercise.
It's true.
And
you get you feeling better.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best thing you do is comprehensive exercise plan tailored towards you. But if you advertise that, I don't know if that gets people to your door any much better than anything else. So
yeah.
Not with that attitude.
Well, Jeremy, that's the attitude of my patients. That's not my attitude. I'm a believer.
You're projecting.
Hey, maybe I am. I don't know.
Speaking of projecting, you ever project a video game onto a wall and play?
I like where you're going. Nope, I've never done that.
We used to do it all the time.
Did you really?
Oh yeah,
my
wife and I had we bought our house when we were pretty young, and it was kind of a party house. We had a hot tub out back. The deck was built around it, and I had a projector and laptop with an emulator, and we sat in the hot tub and shot it on the side of the house. We played a lot of Mario Kart out in that hot tub.
Mario Kart.
Is that an innuendo?
No. It wasn't in anybody's endo. We were just playing video games.
There was a mushroom in there. Taste it.
Shiitake. Yeah. No, and that's a blast. If you guys never played a video game on like a 400-inch screen, I recommend.
Can't say
put that on my bucket list.
So it was nice. I had a buddy. He still works at NDSU. So NDSU, like every 3 months, 6 months, does like a surplus sale. So say they get like $100,000 to replace projectors on campus. Every projector they replace, they have to put on auction. So I got
Nice.
$10,000 projector for $100 from NDSU.
Wow.
The bulb was burnt out, which that cost me $100, but
Wow, taxpayer money, tuition right there.
yeah, right there, man.
That's finest.
So
See, I can always make it a negative story too.
yeah, don't poop on it. I got $100 projector. It was
I
nice.
just pooped all over it.
I didn't like it. But yeah, I recommend, anybody, those surplus sales are sweet. Like all the cabinets and stuff they tear out when they replace buildings and stuff all go up for sale for dirt cheap.
Well, if you know a guy, and maybe just keep me
Computers.
posted on what you hear out there.
Yeah.
Keep your ear to the street.
Yeah, they actually changed the projector. The projector thing got so popular that like they had to change how they did it, but they used to just mass sell
more.
them. Yeah, they used to just mass sell them for
So your little
$100.
story was just a projector tease to Jeremy and myself. It's not real. It doesn't exist
I
anymore.
could probably still find it. Best thing when we were doing that, because they just have it all. And I remember there was like a trunk there one time, and me and my buddy were like, "Oh, what's it?" Yeah, there was like a trunk. It looked like a trunk, right? Like you would put clothes in, like an old people trunk back when they had trunks.
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember we were like, "What's this thing about?" Opened it up inside. It was for the nursing school, and it was like a catheter model, like that you would cath. So it was just like you opened it up, and literally it was just a butt and a vagina. I was like, this is the greatest thing. I can't believe we're not buying this. I still regret it to this day. I mean, what a fun piece to have in your home when people are like, "Oh, this is this antique trunk from your grandma? Oh yeah, open it up. We got lots of oh." I mean, it was quite graphic. It was
belongs in Storage Wars or something like that, right? What's in this trunk?
Yeah, for sure. It was a very interesting thing that they put on auction, because in my mind, I'm like, what possible use?
It's all Al Capone's money.
I guess I don't want to know what possible use you would have had for that. But like, why would you sell this to the public? Like, that's only like a pencil holder. I don't know what you would do with it. Like, it's not a lot of things. $5 in there. I don't know.
There's some sick people out there, Case.
Yeah, well, I
like you're Mr. Naive.
Well, no, things ran through my mind. Don't get me wrong, but again, if you're the college, you're like, yeah, this is a dumpster thing. This is not a auction block thing, right? Like at some point, you have to.
There's some dude. I'm from North Dakota. There's some weird people.
We have plenty of.
We don't have the biggest population, but we still got some weirdos.
Yeah, we shouldn't just shouldn't feed the beast though. If you're the college, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll take their money wherever they can get it. Greedy old Gus's.
Well, yeah, now they're in whatever $100 million deficit or whatever. I don't think it's that much, $10 million or whatever, but
too much.
So more projectors.
Administration, too much money. Damn it. Oh, but we are talking video games. We were talking our favorite video games from when each of us was respectively in college. Any platform, doesn't need to be specific, could be an arcade game, could be, which it's my thought, but
like Dance Dance Resolution was the only arcade game I think that was around when I was in college.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, so other than that, I can go first because my list is very weak. It's very short. My short list is
hedging his bets. Hedging them.
No, this is real. There might be there's probably some games you'll recognize on here, but yeah. I'm gonna start out number 5 is a little game from about 2003 that my roommate Mike got on his GameCube.
Oh,
and we played it.
The worst controllers.
We played it to tie it in with the movie.
Was the worst, but
it was Enter the Matrix, which was a pretty fun game. Everything was like tied promotion with the release of the sequels. I remember it was challenging and confusing all at the same time
because you could run on walls and stuff.
Yeah, and you had
you were Neo, right? Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. My buddy, I had a couple of roommates that were like super big, like Matrix guys. Mike was a big Matrix guy. Oh, Casey's sharing.
He's pulling up the emulator. He's going to start playing it.
Oh yeah. Well, was this on PlayStation 2? I don't think I ever emulated that deep.
It was on the GameCube.
There
it is.
Oh, GameCube, you said, yeah. Oh man, its graphics weren't terrible.
No, I mean for the time it was pretty cool.
That's a screenshot. That's not actual gameplay.
Actual gameplay footage.
See, down in the
compare that to the port. That's got to be
Square
gameplay
tires.
footage, right?
Yeah.
Look at that bullet. Look at that bullet time.
It's like watching real life.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my number 5. The 2 outstanding. But,
he's really going for this.
He really wants to see this in action.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, you crapped on just still pictures.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, realistically, every time they put out like promo stuff, it looks way sweeter than the game does.
Geez, do the 3-hour, 45-minute.
Yeah, should we watch the whole walkthrough? Should we just turn this into like a comment video?
How to beat it.
Yeah, turn the sound off. It's killing my headphones. Let's jump forward here. Oh yeah, Jeremy, look at that. Don't be such a hater.
Horrible.
Yeah,
no, it's not horrible.
Oh my goodness.
Looks like a couple Mr. Smiths over there.
That's like watching the movie right now.
Yeah, flashbang them.
Boom! Look at that.
Oh, so you got to slow it down. It was like Prince of Persia. Use that mechanic.
Because you're not. This is not Neo. You're like a different guy.
Oh, you're not. Oh,
so nobody cares. Like, but you're like one of Neo's guys. You're like
you're one of his compadres.
Cronies.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird, right. But you had Neo skills. All right. I'll just let this play in the background. Well, I don't know, Jeremy. You want to go
look at that.
Number 5?
Yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
My number 5 came out in the year 2006. It was a highly anticipated release by Microsoft. And it was Gears of War. Neat little game where you run around with these guns with chainsaws on the end. Marcus Phoenix. Got these little aliens. You're on the planet Sarah. They have this emulsion. It's like a gold goo. Solid series. This is one of my favorite series on Xbox.
It looked
a little cartoony, but it was a solid game.
Because that whole shtick was it was you and another guy, and you could like save each other, kind of deal.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Kind of tag teamed it. Yep.
Now, did you play it solo or you play it with somebody typically?
Solo. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
You get friends someday, bud. That's cool.
Cool.
That's my game. Gears of War.
Popular game. My number 5 came from from high school into college, because it was one of those games that had some staying power for me. It is the only computer game on the list, and it is from 2001, and it's Civilization 3. Big Civ guy. That game was pretty cool. It just was one of those games I could get lost in forever.
Now, what was better? Because that was like kind of Age of Empires-esque, wasn't it?
Probably. Yeah, it's interesting now when I look back on I remember it looking a lot better. But I was a huge SimCity fan. SimCity 2000. So this just seemed like the next level for me. And you just spend hours. I mean, you could play as I don't know how many civilizations there were, like 17, 18 different civilizations you could play as. And I'm sure you could go online. I don't know. That was before I had those capabilities, but I just never had it.
You're advancing through time, right?
Yeah, right. It was hokey, like especially at the lower levels. You'd have like Panzer tanks, and the other countries would still have like dudes with spears. But that's what get better at being a civilization. That's what I told them.
Civilization.
And you could win. You could win multiple ways. You didn't have to take over the world. That was probably the hardest way. Winning by science, like in building a rocket ship to like advance to another planet, was actually probably the easiest way to win. So there's different ways you could win too. I mean, you didn't have to be an aggressive country, but
that seems like it'd be challenging.
Sometimes you got to protect your turf though, especially early on. So once you build them nukes though, then people don't come after you. They get scared of it. So
in playing games.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's my number 5.
All right. All right, my number 4. Kicking off my little Xbox original away, which the remainder will actually be. It was a little game called Medal of Honor. It was the first one. I played with my younger brother. A lot of like over a couple Christmas breaks when I was back, and doing the old head-to-head thing, and he would always pretty much get the best of me. He was always a much better gamer than me. I like it. Yeah, there it is, bringing me back.
These games looked a lot nicer than Civilization 3.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't remember going on many missions. I just like, to me, and I mean, you were talking like 20 years ago now. I remember doing a lot of like I said, like the head-to-head stuff, split screen.
Yeah, so you weren't going online typically. It was just you and your brother.
No, I don't know if I've ever played online.
Yeah, you're missing out, man. There's a whole world of assholes out there.
Yes, I
you can play against.
talked to my son. He loves it. You should hear the Fortnite banter.
You don't want to hear half of it.
I was gonna say, do you want to hear that?
No,
banter?
No.
You only hear, and it's really awful, Jeremy, because you only hear one side of it too, because he's got the headset, and you're like, "What is going on?" That's I don't know, dumb. Yeah.
Does he typically play like with his buddies or just random people?
Different buddies, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you let him scream curse words at the top of his lungs?
No.
In the house?
No, but we hear a lot.
I didn't figure it would.
Bro, I'm gonna go for bro.
Some things never change.
Right?
So yeah, that was my that's my number 4, Medal of Honor.
God, I have to imagine that would hit a lot of people's list from 02 to 09 or whatever this list is going to run through.
Yeah,
that was a good game. I am my number 4 came out actually in 2001, so this one did not come out while I was in college, but the second one did. But I didn't put both of them on there, guys, so don't worry. Original Xbox.
Choose to put the one that came out while you were in college.
Well, it's not the one I played the most in college. Fusion.
Okay.
On the original Xbox, so it was like a kind of like Mario. Yeah. Fusion Frenzy. No, that's Formula Fusion.
Oh, that's a different game.
A different one.
That's that looks like a speedy race game.
Cool.
The second one was
this one with the balls.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's like
not watching. It's not those kind of balls.
It's
like
just all
American Gladiator balls, right?
It's just all like it was kind of Xbox's version of like Mario Party. It was all just like little 4-player party games. It was a blast. That dominated my freshman year of college. So like when people would get together, this was always running. So
and this was Xbox?
Yep, original Xbox.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my number 4.
Good choice. My number 4 again came out 2001, so it came out right before I got into college, but got into it playing it a lot more in college. It was, I would say, a pretty revolutionary game. Mine was blown at the ability of a PlayStation 2 to do something like this, and it was Grand Theft Auto 3. Just super cool game. Just open world, hadn't had anything like that yet that I could really think of besides some role-playing games, but even those were pretty linear. Apparently this is in 4K. Probably not accurate of what it actually looked like when I played it, and just the mature content of the game was pretty interesting. To have those missions, to be able to do whatever you wanted. I mean, nowadays we take it for granted, but just having that open world, the side quests, you could spend a day just picking up hookers and murdering them if you wanted to. I mean, that was your afternoon, I mean, it was different. It was just something I wasn't used to, even like, Zelda, I guess would have been Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, probably the only thing that was close to that. But, those felt like kids games, I guess, kind of compared to this. So
yeah, definitely.
Combo.
This looks like the OG though here from a graphic standpoint.
Yeah, it's not far off. I think they just tightened up the like I said, cleaned it up in the 4K upbeat. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah, there's just a million things you could do in the game. So we played it a ton. It was one of those games we would sit around and just fart around, like I said, trying to get up to that 6-star rating. You get the helicopters and the tanks coming after you, and you got the rocket launcher climbing up to the top of the skyscrapers, blowing helicopters out of the sky. It's cool.
Yeah.
I had never even finished the game.
Yeah.
I just got too sidetracked on the other stuff, but
a lot
definitely
of detail and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot of games
picking
now.
up hookers.
Oh, yep. Yeah, there was nothing better than like trying to pull a dude out of his car and then they drive away and then you just throw a Molotov cocktail at the car. That was very satisfying. Like, you're not going to get away from me.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. A lot of fun stories on there. A lot of cool moments. I mean, just you could take the car around and there's lots of kind of Easter eggs hidden through there. You know, you could ramp through buildings and find cool new stuff you didn't even know existed. Yeah, that's my number 4, Grand Theft Auto 3.
Cool. Good one. Moving on to number 3 is my number 3. Second one tied to a video game actually is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. A game I got pretty excited about as the film series was coming to a conclusion, and played the game start to finish. One of the very few things in college where I got, especially something that's like adventure oriented, where I went through and there's Gandalf. You could play as Gandalf. Or
what kind of side adventures
does
he have?
What is he doing?
Look at him power up Casey. You can only imagine.
Could you? I couldn't.
Yeah. So lots of fun though. I mean, it really tied
in the city.
Really tied to the movie well, and then they'd splice in footage from the films too after you'd like beat a level. So that was always kind of cool. Yeah, really enjoyed the heck out of it. I think I finished it over Christmas break one time. There, see, now they're putting in the
cinematic
film footage.
Oh, that horse looks terrible.
That's actual live footage, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know.
That's a real horse.
No, I know, but it looked like
horse looks terrible. Gandalf looks awful right there.
It looks like something from the 70s. It's crazy how quick that changes.
Maybe you need to go back and watch Lord of the Rings again. Maybe it's not what you thought.
Maybe. All right. My number 3, guys, I took liberty with the date on this because I was still taking prereqs for PT school. So
okay.
So there. But it is Fallout 3. Again, this was actually my first foray into the Fallout realm. So you're basically in a nuclear wasteland. And you just advance this dude. You get to make some weapons. It's pretty sweet. Fallout 4 was better. Fallout 76 didn't really hold up, but Fallout 3, yeah, you start in a bunker and got your little pit boy, and you're just making this dude that just goes and conquers a nuclear wasteland. So
I watched my roommate play a ton of this.
It's a great game.
He was fanatical. He played the hell out of it. My buddy Matt that we had on the show, he got this game, and that's all I did, man.
That he's such an intelligent guy. I could see that he would like
great minds think alike. Yeah. I watched that dude shoot like zombie dogs for hours again. I mean, it was no picking up prostitutes and murdering them, but it was like a close second.
No.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird too, because you could play it like RPG or like first person, right? Like you could have that where you could shoot, and it was more RPG style where you pick where you shoot, or you could just free gun it, right?
Yeah, they had the VATS. It's like this system that you could like pick where you're going to shoot somebody at.
Yeah. I remember watching. I was like, that seems like super simple compared to, because I was more used to just straight first person shooters. So I was like, that seems simple.
Yeah,
but he got murdered a lot, so
it's not simple.
Yeah, he was building weapons out of paper clips and rubber bands. So I was like, interesting.
Yep. pipe rifles, not a big deal. Oh.
Yeah, it seemed super cool. There's some pretty cool storylines. I remember watching him play. Stuff you had to look out for, but time consuming for sure.
Yeah, it was. That's for sure.
My number 3 from 2006, my oldest game on here actually, was Mario Party 7. Yeah, 7. I had to like go back and do some research because I was like, which Mario Party did I play? Yeah, this was like you said, Jeremy, this was a party drinking game. We just, anytime we were having beers, we'd throw Mario Party on and just jam out. It was fun. I mean, it's stupid, easy games. You
Yep.
be blitzed out of your mind and still win some of them. So that was always exciting. Yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. It's probably one of the only things I enjoyed on the GameCube. So yeah, Mario Party
It's
7.
GameCube game. Okay.
Yep, it was GameCube. This was the last. I think Mario Party 8 was Wii. So this is the last one on the GameCube.
Cool.
So a lot of good memories. A lot of good memories sitting in the living room playing this one.
The GameCube. What an annoying system.
Yeah, it was so dumb. Those little dumbass discs. Nobody wanted that. Just use DVDs, Blu-rays, what everybody else is using. You don't gotta be different.
Yeah.
It gotta be so hard.
Weren't we able to, like, you could watch a movie on the Xbox, right? You could watch a DVD on there?
Yep.
HD DVDs, right? That was Xbox.
Yeah, they went
360?
after that.
They missed it, right?
Yeah.
Because PlayStation 2
instead
had
of
Blu-rays.
Blu-ray.
Yeah, PlayStation 2 did Blu-rays, and
although in hindsight, Blu-ray wasn't that sweet either. It didn't last very long either.
they still make Blu-rays, Jeremy.
Yeah.
No,
I'd
they
say it's a lot
don't.
bigger than HD. Yeah.
Yeah, when's the last HD DVD you bought?
Well, I'm just saying, in the history of time, we're not going to have Blu-rays very much longer.
Jeremy, I got a PlayStation 2 when I was in high school, probably my senior year. I just bought.
Oh, that was PS3, wasn't it?
No, it was PS2. I just bought a Blu-ray the other day.
It's kind of in. I think you're
That's
in line
like
with
20 years, Jeremy. That is a good run.
It's not 20 for Blu-ray though. I bet you Blu-ray is more like 15 at this point. Which is still a fine lifespan.
100%. Well, maybe it was. Maybe PlayStation 3 was. Maybe PS2 was just DVD. Maybe PS2 was just DVD.
So like I said, I think it's a decent life. Like 15 years. I was just doing some research on.
Blu-ray came out June 20th, 2006.
Okay.
So it had to for sure be PlayStation 3.
16, yeah.
16 years. That's still a pretty good run.
It is. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I was looking up some things and the accessibility of VHS cassettes to the average person. They talked about how certain movies really triggered a shift in that because they previously were inaccessible, right? From an expense standpoint. Like if you wanted to go and buy Top Gun when it came out in 1986, it was like $100 to buy that VHS.
That's great.
And so they ramped up a lot of stuff into mass production and were able to drop that price point. But like really, which is crazy for me to think, but I guess really like to actually have a real legit copy of a film, like a VHS copy, those didn't go down in price till like the late 80s, early 90s. And then you think about VHS, that probably lasted legitimately till what would you say, like 2000, 2001? And it was already being phased out.
Yeah, when the PlayStation 2 came out, phased them out.
PS3.
That's what did it. That's what did it.
Oh, DVDs. You're right.
All right.
Yeah, that's my bad. Sorry, Jeremy. But still, 16 years is a solid run. 17 years.
It's a good run. All right.
It's not a flash in the pan, Jeremy.
It's kind of.
It's probably going to be the last physical media they make. You think they're going to come out with something else?
You're right. No, you're correct.
Right. Do you get okay? All right.
Doling, you're on number 2.
Yeah, number 2.
Did you get lost in Mario Party? Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of did. It's a little distracted.
Yeah.
But my
really
next
hurt
one,
my algorithm on YouTube.
Mr. Casey Hansen, you were right on the money with your initial introductions. My number 2 was again on my old school Xbox. Is Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Ooh, is that
I think it came out in 02.
Nailed it.
And
usually I'm way off
just
on yours, Nick.
and Casey, you nailed like your description of 3 is very similar. Like it was just so easy to like Michelle still she still brings this up, but like it was the perfect game for, and I remember I had these 2 roommates, Nick and Mike, and if we went out on a Saturday night and had way too much fun and we were just like chilling all Sunday afternoon, I would lay, and it was like the same setup. Michelle would be over. I would lay on the floor, my head propped up on a couple pillows, and I would just play Vice City, and everybody else would watch me, like just hungover, and give me like, hey, check out that, or when we get really bored, it's like, oh, pull over, shoot that cop, so you get in a chase,
It's quick.
Yeah,
but
it's just like real life.
And then sometimes it would just be, hey, hop in a car and change the radio station. It was just so like, I mean, you could make anything be somewhat entertaining. And it was a fun game. And I played a ton of it. It was, at that point, it was, I mentioned Lord of the Rings. I played start to finish, and Vice City came out a little before that. And I probably played it more than anything else at that point in time that actually had a story and had a pursuit that, very linear and ongoing with a finite end. So that was my number 2, Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah, Vice City was cool because it was like so much brighter and more colorful than Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yep. And I think Ray Liotta did the voice for like the main guy.
I think you're right.
I remember playing a lot of like, I was very excited whenever I'd hop in a vehicle. Oh, there we go. And like I could switch the station and hear like Broken Wings by Mr. Mister.
Yeah, it was like, I would say, much better soundtrack than GTA 3. And like I said, the main character actually had a voice, where in Grand Theft Auto 3, you were completely silent, I believe, if I remember correctly.
God, it was so much fun now, just watching these little clips.
Yeah, it
a lot
was
of little missions.
Well, it's one of those things too, where you played Grand Theft Auto 3 and that world seemed so big. And then you get to like Vice City and then San Andreas after that, where you're like, I mean, San Andreas, you could drive for like half an hour into the country before you ran into stuff. It was just crazy what they could do with the systems they had.
Like this whole mansion scene, you could spend forever just going around, taking out guys, and then just like hanging out before you do the, whatever it was you had to do to like trip it on and go to the next thing.
Yeah.
No one's even moving there. It's like, oh, everyone's getting mowed down.
Don't alert anybody.
No.
Yeah, the old sniper. You can switch through your weapons, toggle through the samurai sword.
Yeah, I had even GTA 3, you had so many different weapons you could use.
He's got good hip mobility.
This is taking me back right here watching this. Oh man.
Well, they were all good games.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Put Rockstar on the map.
All right. My number 2 came out in 07. Guitar Hero. Number 3. So the only reason I put that on there, again, like I took liberty with the date a little bit, but again, I was still taking some college classes, so I figured it was okay. If not, I could put 2 on here, but why 3 was so much better was you could battle. So you get a couple guitars going at the same time, and yeah, I mean, it was just a blast. We pulled that out over Christmas too, and I found out I am not an expert at this anymore. Hard was giving me all so, but I went through 2, 3, 4 was technically, I think, World Tour. We had all the rock bands, had the Metallica version of this was pretty sick too. But yeah, I'm hoping they remake it at some point in time, because this was just a fun genre of game,
Definitely.
So
man, yeah, I missed this. I missed the boat on these just a little bit. I was out of college when they were really starting to hit,
Yeah.
And I remember when I was back for like a Christmas at my mom's, and like my younger brother had it like hooked up, and we jammed. And dude, I don't remember which one it was, but we spent hours just passing the guitar around, just having.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And you're right. Like it's like an awesome, just fun, entertaining family game too, where everybody's gonna get it. They understand how, like, maybe not exactly how to move figure, like the dexterity piece right away, but they understand at least, hey, you're trying to play this song,
Yep.
and very simplistic there. So
Yeah.
very cool. And then
No, that was a blast.
Another thing everybody else can just watch and laugh with,
Yeah, because you always looked like a fool playing it, but you tried to throw your flair on. I mean, it was a fun game. It was a great lead in because my number 2 is Guitar Hero 1 from 2005.
Ooh.
Yeah, we had a guy that wanted to sleep on our couch for like a semester, and he was like, dude, I can bring Guitar Hero. And I was like, I don't know what that is. So he brought over like the 2 guitars, Guitar Hero. Man, we played this thing every party. We would bust it out, and we got good enough where, yeah, you'd put the guitar behind your head and you'd play it between your legs. You had the stupid strap, so you'd fling the guitar around you. You just put that guitar
you had
up.
flair, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'd get on the coffee table and play. That's when you were good, you got on the coffee table for sure.
Wait, I'm gonna go change into my jorts.
Yeah, still to this day, like I can't hear Franz Ferdinand or the Xyz or Cochise with Audio Slave without thinking of this game, because I played those songs like a million times. Stellar from Incubus was on there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. Was like, for being the first one, they actually had a pretty solid soundtrack with a lot of variety. I mean, they got better as time went on, got bigger names and bigger songs, but there was something fun about that first one that just had that more eclectic song list and things to it. Played a lot of Rock Band later when I was in grad school, but I actually preferred Guitar Hero. I think it was just simpler, funner. It was easier to just pick up.
Yep.
Rock Band, nobody ever wanted to do the drums.
Don't ever want to sing.
Yeah, it took a special person to sing. Like, people just want to play guitar.
Yep. So. Gotta love shredding.
Yep. Yeah, so that's my number 2, Guitar Hero.
Right.
Good choice, Jeremy.
Yeah, great choice, guys.
Thank you. You as well.
Great minds.
On to number ones. This is almost a no-brainer. It was, even the year on this. My number 1 is NCAA Football 2004, which was released in summer of 2003, I believe. Carson Palmer was on the cover of it. And it was the first one. I could be wrong, but I thought it was the first one where you did the race for the Heisman. I absolutely loved everything about this game. And
those always had great soundtracks too.
They did. Them and
I don't know if this one did
awesome
though.
soundtracks.
I don't think they started, like Madden did ahead of NCAA. I think as 05 started adding music. 05 or 06 did. This one, why I remember that is everything I could, you get hypnotized by the marching band music constantly. Like they just rotate between school songs and stuff. There's Cadillac Williams right there, running for Auburn. So much fun. Obviously, you create yourself. You go through as a freshman.
Did you make your own team in this one?
I did at one point. Yes, I did.
You could have your own, because we'd always do like the Bison.
And I was a quarterback from Carrington, North Dakota.
Makes sense. 99 stats, I assume.
Yes, everything across the board. Always led the NCAA in rushing and passing, and such a blast to play.
6'7", 280.
And so many. Usually it was about 6'5". I think I go about 245.
Okay.
Yeah, and work on some speed. Try to win the Heisman every year, but this game made it very, very tough to ever win it as a freshman. It was like almost impossible to win it your first year out, no matter how good you were. And I thought that was kind of fun. I thought I kind of like the fact that at the time that was very realistic, right? Like didn't like giving the Heisman out to freshmen, and God dang, just watching this again too. I spent countless hours, way more than I should have been in undergrad, like playing games. And that's what I was going to say too. Like by the time I got to grad school, I pretty much put the game away. Felt like I just needed to buckle down, and I didn't really play video games much at all after that. But during undergrad, it didn't matter if when I had class the next day, how much homework I had to do, I'd squeeze in some NCAA football. I could always squeeze in like a 2-minute quarter and try to advance my season along, do all that fun stuff. Yeah, that's easily my number one. I owned it, but over the course of like a few years, I owned like 2003, 2004, 2005. I think I bought 06 later on. Actually, when I thought I was going to get back into gaming. So that was it.
Didn't pan out for you though.
No, I bought it, and I felt like now by that point I'm like, kind of, you get too much of a break of it. You feel like you're just moving on.
Yeah, it was interesting in high school. I played Madden nonstop. But yeah, when I got to college, definitely made that shift more towards like party games to play with in front of a bunch of people. And yeah, nobody wanted to sit at a party and watch two dudes play football on the TV. But
yeah,
so I kind of got away from them when I got to college. But
shout out to my other roommate later on, Derek. He and I played countless hours against each other, and that was fun. And you could do you could pick these really fun all-time great games on here, or famous plays, and then see if you could complete them on each other. Like the Sanford band play, see if you can return the kickoff and take it yard, and stuff like that.
Pretty cool. Yeah. All right. My number one, this was grad school, and actually all the reasons that you said where you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have been playing so much, and it's maybe embarrassing how much time I put in on it. That would be this game for me, but it was during grad school for sure. Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty. We had, if we were just sitting around before class or after class, again, throw on a little bit of online multiplayer, get in a couple games quick for sure. Solid game. And then there were also, Black Ops 2 were sandwiched on either side of it, but this was a much better game. This you could just play, you could get sucked into online with this. So that's what I was teasing before dueling, where I'm like, man, I had a buddy from undergrad that we would get on every once in a while and play for a while. And man, you hear these little 10-year-old kids on there, and it's no wonder our world is in the shape it's in. My goodness. That's my get off the lawn moment, but man, kids cursing.
Well, they need better role models than you turds.
Yeah, you on there swearing back at them. You're the problem.
No, I was usually the guy. I thought it was more funny to be like, your mom's gonna ground you. No, I didn't ever curse at little kids. So
you were Thor in Endgame.
Yeah. You're gonna get your mouth washed out with soap. So, but yeah, it was crazy. That's what I was telling Casey beforehand. I'm like, man, like, are they maybe they're just gaming in an empty house? But I'm like, you got to hear that at some point, don't you? Like as a parent, maybe not.
Sometimes you do. I don't know.
But this isn't just screaming over a game. This is cursing and saying other very, very vulgar things. So, but anyways, that was the low point of this game, but the gameplay was pretty solid on this. So cool. That's my number one.
All right. Yeah. Solid number one. Looks great. I was kind of done with video games by this time, but man, even way back then, it looked pretty good. I don't know. Maybe my bar's really low, but I'm like, this looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really
out there
really
murdering
solid.
people.
What platform was this on, Jeremy?
This was Xbox 360.
360. Yeah.
Yeah, looks great. This is a 4K 60 frames per second on an ultra PC, but I assume it looked comparable on the 360.
Yeah, this probably has less lag. You'd always get ticked off at, just like dueling trying to podcast. You get things get a little laggy.
So frustrated. Turn LimeWire off for 20 minutes while you played, Jeremy. It would have been fine. The newest hits weren't that important.
They were.
All right. It was just going to be riddled with viruses anyways. All right. My number one, we played the crud out of this game. This was one of those games where literally we would call each other up and say, hey, come on over, 6-7 guys. We're just going to drink and play. It was interesting because typically I wasn't a fan of these types of games, just growing up with an older brother who would beat the snot out of me. But there was something about this game that I was drawn to. It was super cool. It was a fighting game called Soul Calibur 2.
Heard of that. A lot of these I remember. A lot of these ones you guys are saying, I just remember from TV commercials and stuff.
Yeah, I love this fighting game. It's the third in the series. Soul Edge was the first, and Soul Calibur, then Soul Calibur 2. Kind of had a cool overarching story, just like Tekken. That next level of fighting game where they had a nice little story to it. What I liked about Soul Calibur was there was a lot of. I felt like it was a little more of a chess match because you could do high, medium, low attack, high, medium, low blocks. You could. It was a lot more about timing and anticipating what your opponent was going to do than just being the fastest button tapper and knowing all the different moves to the game. So there was definitely some cool strategy to it. And, you had 7-8 guys that kind of played each other all the time. You knew each other's tendencies. So it became more of a chess match where you guys would sit there for like 10, 15 seconds before someone would throw a move because you could counter, you could throw. So if you knew what they were going to bring to you, you could flip them around and end it pretty quick. So it was really fun. I mean, it was just a blast. We'd be screaming and you just loser passes,
When did this one come out?
This would have been 2003. So, and I played on the PlayStation 2, which kind of stuck because it came out on 360, GameCube, and PS2. And each system had like a unique hero. So the GameCube one, you could play as Link, which was super sweet. The 360 one, you could play as Todd McFarlane's Spawn. But the PS2 just had a dude from Tekken where it was like, that kind of sucks because I've already played as that guy in Tekken. So didn't like that as much. It was originally supposed to be a character from Final Fantasy VII, but they couldn't get the licensing in time. So they had to make a quick switch. So it was easy to pull a guy from another fighting game. So PlayStation got kind of shortchanged on it, which was a bum deal. But it's my number one. Put a ton of hours in. There's like a training mode on the game where it would tell you all your moves for your guys. I would sit and memorize everybody's moves and know when to time them right. And there was one gal on here that had a move that was like a 13 button combo. Could never get that one down, but that one was sweet. That was cool. Every once in a while, the computer would pull it on me, and I was like, that's badass. I wish I could do that. So, yeah, I wasn't a huge fighting game guy because my brother, like I said, man, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. I don't know if I ever beat that dude. But then, fun fact, in college, my brother moved back to college, and we'd sit around and play, and like someone would get a hot hand, and I'd call my brother. I was like, "You need to get over here. Like this dude's. It's not fun for anybody."
He's showing up.
Yeah, so he would walk in, beat the guy.
To be humbled.
But then my brother wouldn't leave after that.
Here. We did that with Fight Night.
Hey, you've done your thing, dude. Just get out of here. And then he'd just beat everybody for like 2 hours and think he was cool. So that ruined it a little bit for me. But it's a great game.
Yeah. I've never played it. Looks fun.
Yeah, if you like fighters, it's solid. I think they still probably making them to this day.
No, I don't know if anything's gonna beat Street Fighter 2.
Turbo.
Apex. And then like you said, Mortal Kombat. I want to say Mortal Kombat 2 as well. Like better than the first one and better, more advanced. Those two were pretty legit. Pretty OG.
Yeah, they were solid. But as far as like 3D fighters went, I thought this was definitely one of the top. Just a different game.
Spinning all around and
Yeah, this game was fast. It didn't clog up much. The story, if you played single player, was actually pretty solid. I liked it a lot better than Tekken. Tekken was good, but Tekken was just very grapple-esque. I don't know. I like this more. Just felt more epic, hitting dudes with big ass swords. And in this one, you could like go on like solo missions and get new weapons and stuff for your guys that would change your stats too. So that was kind of cool. So you could have custom guys, different stats, different armor, different weapons. So that was kind of unique at the time.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's my numero uno.
Well, cool. Well, good list, boys. Not a lot of shocking surprises there. I'm such a green as goose shit guy when it comes to video games, made, I don't know, maybe after 95.
That's me on every other topic. So
yeah. So I feel like I was enlightened. Some short, there's one thing, like I was going to throw out Tiger Woods PGA Tour because I played a little bit of that. I had a buddy who had that one. So you go over there and you're like, oh, this is fun. It's easier than real golf.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, definitely some short list games. Yeah, Tiger Woods, NBA Streets. We played that a ton. That was super fun.
NFL Street 2.
Okay. Yeah, played
That's
a lot of
GameCube
those.
game too.
Little hokey shit though.
Oh, slip and slide, take it to the house, man. Every time.
Throw somebody against a brick wall.
Yeah, Streets was fun, man.
They're asking for it.
You'd roll on the ground, dribble in the whole way, and Shaq's dumbass would just fall right to the ground. He couldn't keep up with that. Then you'd go to dunk it, alley-oop it to another guy who would dunk it, then alley-oop it to another guy who would dunk it. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I think the second one had Jordan in it. That was sweet. Could unlock Jordan, which is always the dream from like NBA Jam. Like you just want to play Jordan. You couldn't back then. So
yeah. I played NBA Jam and I played NBA Live 95. Those are the only basketball games I really remember. Well, Jordan versus Bird on the old.
That was a good one too.
It was a Magic versus Bird.
I think it was Magic.
Magic, probably.
You're
thinking of Michael Jordan in the Windy City.
Windy City.
It's like an action game where you played as Jordan. Different power-ups with different basketballs you could find. It was weird that that's what he chose to attach his name to.
He just want to be different.
Shaq had Shaq Fu, so
Shaq Fu.
Almost as good as Shazam.
Well,
that concludes episode 47 of PT Shop Talk. As always, check us out on YouTube. Hit us up at ptshoptalk@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, PT Shop Talk, PT Shop Talk 1 at Twitter. Until next time, I'm Casey Hansen. With me, as always, Nick Doling and Jeremy Van Klompenberg.